that has reached well beyond Beale Street to stir some emotions. David Fizdale, who had the Grizzlies of Memphis out to a 5-1 start this year, was fired yesterday with his team in the throes of an 8-game losing streak. Fizdale, of course, nationally best remembered for April's post-game playoff rant about the disparity in free throws between his team and the Spurs.
You know, I know Pop's got pedigree and I'm a young rookie, but they're not going to rook us. That's unacceptable. That was unprofessional. My guys dug in that game and earned the right to be in that game, and they did not even give us a chance.
All right, thank you.
Take that for data.
That's an all-time classic piece of punctuation, as is LeBron's reaction to the firing of this coach who was the lead assistant during Mr. James' time in Miami. "I need some answers," he tweeted. "Feels like my man was a fall guy." Today in Memphis, the front office tried to provide answers, and specifically to the question that Marc Gasol's unhappiness was at the root of this firing.
Rightly or wrongly, it's perceived around the league and in Memphis that Marc Gasol greatly influenced this decision. Did management or ownership have a conversation with Marc before or after you fired Fizdale?
Well, obviously, it's no secret there was tension between the two, and this is a factor, but it's not the overriding factor. As I said, the trends have not been positive.
LeBron not the only player to tweet about Fizdale's firing. Dwayne Wade, Vince Carter, Damian Lillard, a lot of other folks unsettled by the news. Brian Windhorst is here to put calm into the Western world, explain this in other matters. What did you think of Fizdale's firing before we get to LeBron's?
Well, you know, Bob, over the last week, there had been some rumblings throughout the league that there was some trouble in Memphis. I didn't think it was this kind of trouble. Obviously, if I felt that David Fizdale's job was in danger, I would have reported it. But there was something going on. And also, star players sometimes sit. But when it happens one time, typically they don't have the reaction that Marc Gasol did. And that happening was an indication that Gasol did not have respect for David Fizdale. And David Fizdale, or Marc Gasol being the leader of that locker room, that was an indication that he may have lost it. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Grizzlies, who typically, Bob, are a stable organization, decided to make what is now a controversial move.
But LeBron feels so invested in this man, and many other players do.
Yeah, for sure. Although, you know, the thing about it, when a coach gets fired, there's always people up in arms. There were a lot of people up in arms when David Blatt got fired. Greg Popovich was very against it, and a lot of that could be tied to his relationship with LeBron. So LeBron knows how the league operates. David Blatt never got some of the answers that he wanted either. All
right, speaking of LeBron, a report to the Cavaliers' demise slightly exaggerated. They've won 8 in a row. I think the last time you and I talked, I think we thought the world was, and our hair was on fire about the Cavaliers. They're only a half game out in the second place right now in the East. And there you are writing well at ESPN.com. I have the world's best player has even gotten better this year.
LeBron is having a glorious first couple of weeks of this season, Bob. His play in the clutch has been phenomenal. He's putting up numbers at the level he did during his NBA season or his MVP seasons. Mm-hmm. He's doing things down the stretch of games that's easy to overlook, like guarding Kristaps Porzingis one night, guarding Kemba Walker the next. Now, we can debate whether or not him taking on this much stress early in the season is good for the Cavs long term, but what's not debatable, LeBron James has been the MVP of the first 6 weeks of the season.
All right. And here are the Clippers at 8-11, and that's only after a 3-game win streak, and there is Blake Griffin out again. Still awaiting the official diagnosis of what happened to his knee last night, but as Doc Rivers said, it didn't look good.
Yeah, if you watch the play, he obviously has a knee injury. The question is whether it's a season-ending injury. And if he's out for a long period of time, Bob, with Patrick Beverley already out and Milos Teodosic, these are 3 of their most important players. It would lead the league to believe that the Clippers may start a rebuilding process, and that could include trading DeAndre Jordan and maybe Doc Rivers examining whether he wants to lead this team. These are all things that are being discussed around the NBA even before this Griffin injury.
Great piece in the San Jose Mercury News. Logan Murdoch with an interview with Kevin Durant about sense of social responsibility, his place in the world as a black man playing basketball. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And Durant has been giving a lot of interviews recently. for some reason, he's pouring his soul out like every other day to a various outlet. But all of them have been interesting. And in this case, he talks about growing up in Washington, D.C. And, he hasn't talked about that a lot. And one of the things that frankly, Kevin Durant is doing, he's tried to follow in LeBron's footsteps, and talking about these kind of things is doing that.
Brian Windhorst, about to become a daddy for the first time, to you and your wife. Mazel tov. I hope it's a great experience. Best to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, they may look alike, but we will really compare the prince and the man who would be king. That's next.